Welcome to another Motortown post-event race commentary. Today we got the Go Karting event. This is going to be one of the last few that I'm organizing for TWL after this one, and the next few I'll be on my Motortown hiatus. The ones that are still going to come up are the Bolts on Roads and the Advanced League. But afterwards, I'll be on my hiatus. I won't be making any videos on the game for a while, and I'll most likely be back for the next update. Not entirely sure how that's going to work out yet. But another thing I'm considering is to maybe drop this entire format from this point on, or at least after the other few events have been recorded for. In the end, I'm not always consistent with when I make videos, and if I don't really feel like recording for a week or two, these event videos end up piling up, and that's not really always that fun, and some of them aren't even really worth making a voiceover for, in my opinion. So, yeah, we'll have to see how I handle this going forward, but I'm certainly considering to maybe at least not make a video for every single event. Anyway, let's get into this, let's get started and check out how this one went. I don't think I need to explain too much about karting. This should be pretty clear, and I'm glad that somebody actually made a bonus race for, I think, one of the Formula SCM events, which is where I realized that karting in this game is actually really fun. I always just ignored the kart and did other things. But yeah, once I get back into doing events and organizing this stuff, this might pop up a bit more often. These things are amazingly fun. Another thing I can quickly talk about is that this is a new track. I tried making one in the refinery that doesn't have all the pipe bridges and speed bumps and everything. I think there's still like one speed bump in here, but I couldn't fully avoid them for a route. Anyway, we are getting started here, first up into a hairpin. I want to lead people around that speed bump there, but almost got pushed over it and missing the checkpoint in the process. Keep an eye on the person in front of me, taking the corner a bit too tightly, and well, I got caught up in that. Not really too much I could do. So now I think, in 7th position. Oh no, I'm actually in 5th. There was a bit of back and forth there with the crash and the fallout from that. But yeah, we are now going around the northwest end of the refinery. And partially because I want to avoid these pipe bridges, as I mentioned before. Don't know what that guy did there. There were a few weird things happening in this race that I don't really know what to say about. But yeah, I think the route overall, while being a bit on the busy side for smaller vehicles like the karts and maybe the compact class with slower engines, this might work well enough. But I think we are about to come around to the one speed bump. There it is. I could theoretically even avoid it, but it's maybe not that worth it. Got another little crash there, and that gave me back 2 positions, so I should be in 2nd place now. So this worked out really well. Although 1st place is very far away already, coming back around from the 1st lap. I think there are 7 laps in total, so there is still quite a ways to go. And a lot of stuff that can happen here. But yeah, if I don't have to manage traffic, then usually there is a good chance that I can take a nice route through there. But yeah, I didn't do too much in terms of testing. I figured out a good final drive ratio. Actually bought a 2nd card as well, one for slower tracks like this one and one for the faster ones where you really need a decent top speed. My go-karts both have the 2-speed transmission. But yeah, in the end, one of them is just gonna have a slightly longer gearing, and that should be alright. But yeah, I really need to learn how to push these things and really get the most out of them. Because if you look at the map right behind me, there are two other people and I don't know if I'm actually faster than them. This might end up being quite the battle. There's also one person in front of me that apparently got lapped. So yeah, things are happening here. And it's really tough figuring out which gear to use in which area. There are a few that feel like you could almost go into second gear, or if you go into first, you might be slightly straining yourself between the different corners. But up and down shifting all the time is also not really worth it, so yeah, maybe a slightly longer final drive ratio to stay in first would have been the better idea. But these are really fine things, and I don't really want to make a different card setup for every single track here. But yeah, another lap finished, and yeah, first place is just running away from me. There is quite a pile up at third to fifth place there, but at least they are not really catching up with me anymore. They are more, yeah, busy with their own stuff. Now we got ninth place over here, trying to lap them. I think we're just Monkey Man again, so yeah, I don't know what's happened with them, but yeah. They might be just doing a practice run here and then hopefully have a better time for the next event, or for the next race here. I don't know what happened there. Must have been some desync potentially. Or a demon track or something. I've seen that happen a few times in Motortown. It's just as annoying in this game as on 5M. Or just even regular GTA. I hope that we can at some point get an update that improves the netcode a bit. Because desync is just all too common here, and in some cases it looks like people are doing ramming on purpose and that kind of stuff. I don't think that's really the case. I think most of the time it's just really they are in a way different position on their screen than on yours, and they're just gonna screw you over because they are just holding their line. It's always somewhat easy to tell when they just fully run into you, but they are behaving as if they are on rails while they can completely push you around. But there is never really any pushing back onto them once you get into a desync scenario. Still sucks being wiped out by that, but yeah, it's not really anything that you can do about it, and the other person doesn't even see what's going on. But yeah, we now got third place right behind me. Ronhol managed to really catch up. The Steerman in first is just completely gone. Getting closer to the end of the lap already. Everybody else behind Ronhul is also decently far away, so I should be safe from them. We are over the halfway point for this race. But yeah, I might not be able to keep the second place here. It's pretty clear who has the better pace, and I'm trying to drive a bit more aggressively, but going into the dirt and then coming back on and upsetting the cart through the bump there, that's just not too great. But yeah, I'm trying to drive more aggressively and hopefully getting something good out of there, but yeah, then that also happened. So yeah, lost the place really just down to my own driving style, and yeah, I would be very surprised if I was able to just keep up with Ronhul with my driving here. Really, I should be as close to the inside of the pavement there as possible, but not going off it. But it's really hard to do in that point. I'm just trying to be the fastest that I can be, and I'm just being too aggressive with it, and that's slowing me down. There we still got some people behind me, and Ronhu just running away, so this might still be quite interesting in the end. I hope I don't end up in 5th, but I don't fully remember anymore. It's more like I see what's happening in the race and then I'm like, oh yeah, that was a thing. Yeah, coming back around to the start finish line for another lap complete. And yeah, 4th place is now really closing in on me. Chess might have had a slight incident there. I'm trying to take the inside there going over the bump. Nothing too crazy, the kart can take it. I don't always want to, but in that case, as long as I'm not fully steering through a corner, it's not too bad. Also, one thing I noticed with the karts is that basically once you tip them into a direction, they often steer themselves through the corner. So it feels a bit like drifting or something. I don't know if that's really the best term for it. But yeah, often I'm just giving a little steering impulse into the right direction and then just managing the kart so that it doesn't spin out or straighten out too early, and I'm just trying to have it go the direction that I want, but I'm not really actively steering in the direction anymore, at least not from what I remember. So if you keep an eye on my steering, you can see that I'm actually straightening out the front wheels somewhere in the middle of the corner sometimes. And then even counter steering. I don't know if that's really how you're supposed to drive it, but it's how my car drives. I might have gotten a bad setup for it, I'm not entirely sure. Didn't really compare to anybody. But hey, I'm still in 3rd place, even though it might not be the case for much longer here. Roem is right behind me and yeah, is coming for my place. I think this might be the final lap, so I might be able to keep this, but it's gonna be a tight one. Chess is definitely falling back again, so at least I'm not fighting against 2 people. And yeah, now I'm just trying to drive cleanly, and yeah, then immediately went off the track again on the next corner. But yeah, sometimes the car just drives a bit or steers in a bit too much, and I might not even want to go this far to the inside, but it's not always something that I can easily avoid. We potentially have to lap another person. We got luggage in 8th place in front of me. But should hopefully be far enough away so that I don't have to deal with that. That could be the difference maker here if I don't manage to get past him quickly enough, but yeah, he's in the last corner, there's no way I still catch up to him. And yeah, I managed to keep 3rd place, but I was basically chased down for the entire last lap, so yeah, in the end it's almost exactly 4/10 of a second. Pretty close. Okay, now on to the next track, which is the Dasa kart track. Made quite a while ago, never thought I would actually be using karts on it, but I wanted to do that, so here we are. I'm a bit stuck on the outside there, and Zolden apparently having some desync issues. I think we are playing on 30 FPS or something if I remember correctly. And for some reason the game is just giving us the correct location for a few seconds and then for some reason at some point stops doing that. Okay, didn't really see the corner of the container there. That was a bit of a problem. But yeah, that makes driving behind Zolden quite dangerous. So gotta be careful. Somehow through the entire mess there I still managed to be in third position. Second lap we got chest in front, then luggage in second, and then we right behind, fighting for third position, getting pushed out by Ron Hull and overtaken by a few more people there. Trying to take a good line through here and actually cutting back on 2 people. So yeah, that worked out pretty well. But I'm still just down in 5th position. This is competitive. On my little makeshift go-kart track around the docks over here. Yeah, that braking point didn't really turn out too well. I was a bit scared, I think, because it just started really oversteering, but if I managed to control the drift, that would have given me a good angle for the next turn-in point. But yeah, as it is right now, nothing really changed. Could have caught up to maybe luggage again a little bit, but here we are still 5th position, still trying to catch up and defending against the people behind me. Although there is a decent gap between me and them, so that's alright. Decent line through that little chicane, and I think I'm slowly getting closer to luggage again. Might still be somewhat about the same distance. The Steelman had a bit of a problem there, so I'm now up in 4th position once more. Again, trying to throw the cart around in a controlled manner. And overall this is working pretty well. It's very interesting just how different the lines through here are compared to regular cars. I've done a few races on here. It's usually pretty fun, not always that competitive. But yeah, always interesting to, or for some reason, or some way or another. Sometimes it's really just about avoiding crashes in the first lap and then getting a clean race afterwards, but this time, yeah, there's a bit more going on throughout it, which is, yeah, much more fun in my opinion. Oh, and those two got caught out. It seems like luggage might have hit the apex and Ronhul might have hit luggage, but that gives me the 2nd place. And yeah, coming back around over here, the race is almost at the halfway point. So yeah, since this is such a short one, there are quite a few laps to go. In the end, we're always aiming for about 10 minutes of race time for these regular races, and then 3 event races per evening over here. So that's how the entire thing shakes out. I heard that there are quite a few other servers that are doing event races, but honestly with me right now, trying to reduce my playtime on this game for a bit, I'll maybe look into that later down the line. For a good while it's just been TWL events for me, and yeah, that was, well, unfortunate. Partially felt like the Steelman was really just pushing through there, but also that attempted dive bomb on my end wasn't really all that amazing. I just didn't really know what else to do there. But yeah, down into 3rd place, but still going somewhat strong. At least I don't have any significant damage. Okay, coming back around to the start-finish line once again. And we got Zolden right in front of me, who is getting lapped. Luggage and Roam behind me, who might be able to overtake if I make too many mistakes or if I have the consistently better pace. I mean, there is barely any space between us, so my position here is far from safe. I'm trying to take a slightly faster line, but also once again trying to not be behind Zolden, because that's just gonna end in pain. But apparently I didn't do a great job because Roem is right there, and yeah, I managed to get the cutback, which is quite fun here. But this means we are now really in battle for third position. And it's also going to be a freeway battle potentially. But yeah, a bit more to go. There isn't really any chance of me getting back into second place. Chess and the Steelman are way ahead and consistently faster than me. But everything else, third, fourth, fifth position still seems open. I don't know where sixth place is, or it seems to be like half a lap away. Which, considering how short these laps are, isn't all that much, but I think it should be far enough for me to be safe there, unless I completely wreck myself, throw the cart into the ocean and that kind of stuff. There, here we go. Might be like 2 more laps to go. Another attack by Roem, but I managed to get the cutback once again. There aren't really too many straights on this track to breathe, but the track at least is wide enough so that you can potentially make an overtake here and there, which I think is a really... it's an interesting combination. So you have to go for a somewhat risky move, but it's not like you're just stuck in traffic. Okay, coming back around over here to the start-finish line for the last time before the end of the race, which should be the final lap now. And Roem apparently fell back again, is now fighting against luggage, and therefore I hope I'm safe. Still got another person in front of me, UKK over here, but that's dealt with pretty quickly. They might have gotten stuck on the tire there. And here we go. Quite a tight race in the end. Or at least for a good amount in the middle, but yeah, I managed to take home third position. So that worked out quite well. And now on to the last race, which is the Gangyang Seogyu-pu circuit short. So basically there are 2 layouts for a similar track, or 2 similar track layouts that are being combined into like one thing with just slight variation. I'm not really explaining this so well. We've seen another version of this track for past events, and this time around we are actually seeing the one that I came up with. It's gonna be the same for the back half, but the first few corners are quite a bit different. And I never really got the chance to use this one otherwise in events, so this is the one where I finally decided to put this in. Also to have a bit of a difference here compared to the other tracks, because those were really on the short side. And this is more like a shorter GP style track. I don't know who, but somebody got killed there, and I also got pushed around, so that wasn't amazing. I'm still in second place, and yeah, we are going into a chicane right here. Basically, there is the SGP track or the SGP mini track, which also uses the same chicane, and that's being featured a few times. I just didn't want to put that one and this one in because they just have that shared section. So I never wanted to have that one in the same event, and the longer version of this same layout or similar layout wouldn't have made for a good combination either in the same event. So this time around I finally found a place to put this in, and I'm kinda happy about it. Even though honestly I wouldn't mind seeing a Gang Young overhaul similar to the downtown one, because these ditches here at the sidewalks, they are killer. I'm pretty sure we are going to see what I mean in a moment, so I don't really need to get into that right now. But yeah, right now we are kind of following second place. Got overtaken a moment ago, and I'm trying to keep pace, but Roem seems to be potentially quite a bit quicker. But yeah, it's nice to have another type of track here, because these carts, they have a decent top speed and therefore can be used for these kind of races as well. I wouldn't mind seeing a version of this without any of the speed bumps, but what can you really do here? Maybe taking a better braking point, that's what you can do. Don't do what I just did, it just doesn't really work out too well. Then we got this nice little chicane into the longer right hand turn, which is always a fun combination. And then I just completely overcook it and drift out, which doesn't really work out too well. Hitting the wrong end of the curb completely screwed me over. So I'm down in 4th place now. And there's still quite a bit to go. I think we have like 3 or 4 laps on here. Looks more like 3 looking at the percentages on the left. Yeah, coming back around on this part. This is something that we've seen in other events from the other kind of version there. And what you just saw there was me having a disconnect with my controller. I think at this point the controller reconnected, but it was when I had my analog stick moved around. So that gives it a weird offset, and also no idea what happened there, but yeah, that's curb issues. So that really didn't go too well. And yeah, at least I'm happy to announce that since this was recorded, I finally got a replacement controller. Actually got a completely different one. I like my old 8-bit Do Pro 2, but I always had the issues with the triggers when fully pressed not giving 100% signal to the PC, and that was always a bit of an issue. So instead of getting a similar one again, I decided to go for something else and see how well that one works. So far, pretty good, pretty happy with it, but we'll have to see how it goes in the long run. Yeah, I don't think we are necessarily going to see much more happening over here unless there's any error happening, I don't know. If I have another crash here and there, that might spice things up again. But right now I'm very far away from people both in front and behind. So let's just skip this one ahead a little bit. I think luggage might be catching up a little bit here. Yeah, luggage still behind me. We still have 1/4 of the race to go, so we might be approaching the last lap here soon. But yeah, other than that, nothing really changed. We may have gotten some position swaps further ahead. And honestly, just looking at the percentages, they seem to be decently close to each other. So that's interesting, but nothing really I can report on because, well, I'm not part of that whole battle. Then again, right now it seems like, yeah, there is quite a gap between them. They used to be on one percentage, on the same percentage point for a while, but right now it seems to be shifted a little bit. Yeah, luggage and me are on the same straight. I'm trying to take this corner well. That might be the make or break moment if I completely screw this up. I mean, in the end, if I really screw up any of the corners, that's gonna be the point where I lose a position. So I'm trying to carry this home. Should be possible. Oh, and this isn't going too well. Gotta get off that sidewalk, the one with all the boards there. It's just, it's rough. And while luggage didn't manage to overtake me, they are now right behind me, so gotta be careful there. This has now become an active battle for position, which I could have done without. Yeah, everybody in front of me about to finish or having already finished. And yeah, I'm just trying to defend my position here. I mean, it's gonna be tight, but I don't see why I would be losing the position at this point. Got through the last corner rather nicely, so yeah, it's not like luggage is really closing in here, and that's definitely GG. 5th place in the last race. Decent performance, I would say, even despite controller issues, but hey. At least from the next event, or after the next event forward, that's not gonna be a problem anymore. I remember the next one will also have a disconnected, a rather unfortunate point, but yeah, at least by now I have it fixed. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you guys next time. And as always, until then, have a good one and bye bye.